Hey sweet friends, welcome back to my channel. My name is Maylene Call from Mrs. Call's Campers. This week we are talking about poetry. I'm going to show you a full cycle of poetry on like the first week of school and then kind of explain how that extends into the school year. It starts as like a 1 week poetry cycle and then it moves into a 2 week poetry cycle. This whole resource is shared with you, the Chi-Town teacher on Teachers Pay Teachers. I'll have it linked. And I actually went ahead and for the first time prepped all of their folders. I used to have parents come in every week and add a new poem to the back, but I just put them all in one this time around. I'm like hoping they don't destroy them and make all my work for nothing. So we're going to be very, very gentle with them this year. Today we did first grade rocks. So here's how I introduced the poetry folders and here's how we got started. I'm going to say I've done crayons, I've done highlighters, I've done markers. The best thing to use if you're doing this is just crayons. So I tell them not to color below the floor, especially on day one when we're doing sight words. You don't want them coloring all down in this kind of in between space, because later on, and I'll show you kind of what all of the poems that I have look like. Later on, they're going to be adding underlines of different colors. Let's see if I can remember the whole cycle. So it's sight words, capital letters, punctuation, verbs, adjectives, rhyming words, contractions, vowel teams, blends, digraphs. Here's what a poem towards the end of the school year looks like. You can see it is a lot. And do not let this intimidate you, because I promise you, the kids will find more than you will. Team, and I'll have to go back and do it because they're so much better at it than I am. But this builds. So this is a 2 week cycle. Obviously, this picture is not colored, but I love it, again, just because it spirals all of those skills. And she has all of the information that you need in her resource on Teachers Pay Teachers. Nothing I'm sharing with you here is something that she has not gone over, but I am just showing how it kind of works in my classroom. So for the picture portion in the beginning, I have them draw, label, and try to do a speech bubble if they can, which of course we have to go over. How do you do a speech bubble? You write the words and then you draw the bubble around it. But I always model way, 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 way above what I want from them, because you have some kids who are going to meet this expectation. They're going to be able to draw really cool things from the jump. So I never waste my time drawing super, super, super simple pictures with the poetry. With our actual like illustration unit ready example, I go a lot slower. But with this, if they're ready for it, I let them just take off and go. It is the end of the day. I'll show you what poetry looks like on day one. They did a really, really great job. Just went over sight words. I was telling my coworkers this too, but it does not take a lot of time to do. I love it because it's spiraled. Every day we're gonna do a little bit of poetry. Do you know what a poem is? Yeah. What's a poem? Whisper to your neighbor, what is a poem? Perfect, I love it. As soon as you said your turn, you turned your bodies back to Miss Call. Good job, first grade. All right, who has a really good idea of what they think a poem is?
And then you share.
You write it and you share. Is that true about poetry? Yes, someone writes it and it gets shared. Right, that's great. What else do we know about poems and poetry?
You write a lot of words.
You can have long poems or you can have short poems too. Yep, we have a title and then we have our poem. And poems are words that authors put together and they usually rhyme and they're kind of fun and they make us feel something. So let's read our brand new poem together. Are you ready, first grade? I'm going to use my finger to track, and I want you to track with your eyes. First grade rocks.
First grade rock.
There's a lot to do.
There's a lot to do.
First grade rocks.
First grade rock.
For me and you.
For me and you.
Today, we're going to be looking for sight words. Put a thumb up by your heart if you know what a sight word is. Everybody knows what a sight word is. A sight word is something that we see, and we just know that word just by looking at it. If I point to this word right here, tell me that word in 3, 2, 1. A. If we look at it, we just know that word. If I point to this word, tell me that word in 3, 2, 1. Me. Did you have to look at that word and say, me?
No.
You just knew me. A sight word is a word you know by sight, by looking at it, right? I'm going to use my yellow crayon for sight words. We're going to read this poem again, but if we see a sight word, we're going to turn our voices up. And guess what? Our very first word right here, first is a sight word. Ready? So let's start. There's a lot to do. All right, did you turn to the first poem? Okay, perfect. Now you need crayons. You get your own crayons to bring with you to the carpet every time. Zip it closed when you've got it. I'm going to use my finger up here just so we can do it together. Start at the title. Everyone color just in here. Do not scribble way down here. Got it? First. Perfect. Grade rocks. Good. Some of you are coloring up and down, which is okay, but it's easier if you color like this, side to side. It's easier, okay? This line right here, let's read it. There, color. There's a lot to do. Beautiful. Here's what we're going to do now. Tracking? Your crayon in your bag. Close your folder. Okay, is your bag zipped up closed? Okay. Where do you think we're going to put them? Now, when you put this in your book bin, you'll have 3 things in your book bin. They should look nice and neat, right? Not messy. We're going to see if you can beat my timer to put your things away and come back to the carpet. 1, okay, Miss Call's going to go look at those book bins, and if they are messy, I'm going to call your number to fix it. If you were not here when we did this, it's okay. You will get time later to catch up. Okay, what we're going to do today is we're going to look for capital letters, and we're going to do punctuation. I want you to look at the title. Put your finger on the title. We know it's the title because it's underlined. It's underlined. And what do you notice about the title in the letters? Yeah, the F is a capital letter. What else is a capital letter? The G. What else is a capital letter? The R. Every word in the title is an uppercase letter because it is important. To mark that we know it's a capital letter, you have to do something very carefully. You're going to go right underneath it. 3 lines close together. 1, 2, 3. We want our lines to be close together. Did you do it? Yes, that's a capital F. 3 lines. You just have it at the very beginning. All right, next line. Do you see a capital letter? Capital T. Underline. Let's count how many capital letters we found. Start at the top. Whisper. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. How many did you get? 11. Pink is for punctuation. Do it with me. P is for punctuation. Who remembers what a punctuation mark could look like? What could it look like? It could look like a tiny little circle, kind of like a tiny little dot, right? Could look like that. What else could a punctuation mark look like? What do you think? Oh, it could look like this. That's a punctuation. What else could it look like? A hook and a dot. Do we know what that's called?
Yes.
A question mark. So we could have a period, an exclamation point, or a question mark. These are all types of punctuation. And we usually find them at the beginning or the end of the sentence. Let's check. Do you see punctuation in the title? No, titles don't need punctuation. Look at the first line here. Do you see the punctuation? Put a thumb up by your heart. Do you see it? Color it pink. This punctuation is at the beginning, middle, or end? It's an exclamation point. Yes. Exclamation mark. Punctuation, exclamation. All right, next line. Do we have a punctuation?
No.
We do not. Okay, next line. Yes, say punctuation. Exclamation. They look so good. Guess what we get to tomorrow? We get to add a picture tomorrow. 1, pouch, closed. I know poetry because poetry is like a song, so I put musical notes. All right, so we're gonna read our poem that we've been practicing all together. First grade rocks for me and you. First grade rocks, it's so much fun. First grade rocks for everyone. Can you guys do it by yourself? Yeah. Okay, here we go. That last thing that we found this week is punctuation at the end, right? We found periods, we found exclamation marks, we did not find question marks, but we did find punctuation. So all of this is done. If you are ever absent, which you might be absent one day, if you're ever absent, you'll have time to catch up the next day. Does that make sense? Okay, so today we get to draw a picture that matches the poem. Is Miss Call going to draw unicorns? No. But I love unicorns. You can. But am I going to draw Minecraft. The water park? No. But I love the water park. You can. It doesn't match the poem. I need to draw about what? I wish I could draw first grade. I got to draw about first grade. Okay, I'm going to start with my magic line. Then Miss Call, I have a big bookcase up front, so I'll draw the big bookcase. Got a table right here. Oh, it's missing some things. I need some details, huh? These kids are going to be sitting on their leaves. I'm going to draw this guy. I already know how to draw a person because Miss Call showed me. I start with the head. He's sitting, and then we're going to have a friend sit next to him. All right, I'm going to have 2 kids on the carpet. Then I'm going to add my leaves on the carpet. Yeah, that's what Miss Call just said. And then on my board, I can add all those details that I have a little flower thing that hangs back there. All right, so Miss Call added some drawings. I'm gonna try to add some more details because I have some time. Now, I've done my drawing in pencil. Miss Call said 3 things. You need to draw, label, and speech bubble. What can I label in my picture? I can label the carpet, so I'm gonna sound it out the best I can. Ready? But if there's more I can label, I'm gonna do it. All right, that's good. Now I have a drawing, I have labels, I need a speech bubble. Is my bookcase gonna talk? No. Is my chair gonna talk? No. Who's gonna talk? The kids. So what can my kids say? First grade rocks. They can say first grade rocks, and then I don't even have to know how to spell it. First grade rocks. But to make it look like a speech bubble, I draw a circle around it. Does that make sense? Always the words first. Speech bubble. This is what people say. This is like talking. You can draw whatever you want for first grade rocks. You can draw a different version of our classroom. This is just Miss Call's. Do you have to copy Miss Call's? No, you can do your own. But you must draw, label, and put one speech bubble. Okay, so it's actually the next week. Today is Monday, but I never finished this video with you guys from Friday. We actually didn't get to poetry on Friday. It was just coloring, and then I also will have them present too if we have time. I love having them do that. I don't do it every single week for total transparency, but I do love doing it, especially in the beginning. We just had so much going on last week. There was still so much going on today. I actually was missing half of my class for like testing makeups this morning, so I had half of my class go through and finish the poem. So I didn't have them present, but we did finish and color it. So I'm going to show you just some examples and like a range. I of course did model, and I think on the first poem especially, I get a lot of kids who will copy what I do, even though I'm like, come up with your own idea. So this is what I did. Always set the bar really, really high. We've got labels, we've got speech bubbles, and you saw me talk about how we do all of that. So this little girl did not finish, but she was definitely, well, actually, she might have finished because the back part is the whiteboard. I think she's still got a couple things to color here. And this kid, he colored only the labels. I said, here's a trick to make sure we don't color on top of our words. And I said, draw a box around it. He drew a box around his words and colored in the box. And so these kids pretty much all drew the exact same thing, except for this one kid who also only colored his labels. But that's okay. The other cool thing I love about doing these too is you can see the growth, especially in like their drawing and just like their handwriting too. I also upload this to their class dojo. So right now it's 1 poem a week. Next week it's going to be 2nd grade Superstar. We're doing that, or this week it's 2nd grade Superstar. I'm already behind on this week. You know what I'm realizing now? I didn't put 2nd grade Superstar in their poetry folders. But anyways, that is week 1 of poetry. Week 2 of poetry looks the exact same. And then the 3rd poem is when we start adding in more and it becomes a 10-day schedule. When we do 5 little apples, 2nd grade Superstar looks like. We also practice people drawing here too. And then 5 little apples, you can see there's a ton more skills that we will be adding in. So this will be a 10-day. Hopefully that was helpful, just seeing how I start it. It really is nothing crazy. It is very, very simple. It's a very, very straightforward. It does get so much faster the more times that you do it. They get really, really used to the routine. They'll tell me what color is next. They know what all the colors are for. So in the beginning, it's a lot like, okay, let's get through it. Let me teach you exactly what we're looking for. And then later on, it just becomes this really awesome way to spiral skills. So it's one of those things where you do work up front and then you are good to go after that. So hopefully that was helpful. Thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you like this video if it was helpful. Definitely check the links down in the description box if you want the resource for this. It's by my friend Anne-Marie. She is wonderful and includes every single thing that you need in her resource. You will love it. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe and join the family down below, and I will see you in the next one.